Okay, let's continue our conversation about turning shapes into forms. Basically, the definition of a shape is an enclosed line that starts somewhere and ends somewhere else and comes back to where it started. So, circles, triangles, blobs, squares. These are all shapes if they're enclosed. I mean, that's kind of a loose definition. To make the shapes look three-dimensional, then I'll try to draw something similar. You kind of give it some depth. You give it some form. You kind of figure out where the light's coming from, and then try to apply a little bit of shading, shadow to it, and then you've got a form instead of a shape. Little shading, little shadow, and you have a form. So we took a circle and we turned it into a sphere by adding some shading to reveal the form. So the shading reveals the form by showing you where the light is, how the light hits the object. That's how you make a shape into a form. That's how you make something two-dimensional, three-dimensional. Light, shadow, makes a shape into a form. Sometimes you have to add some lines like this cube, but like in the case of these two, you didn't have to add any lines to the structure. You just had to add lines to reveal the form. So let's see. Let me do something a little different this time. Okay, let's take this one and put it down. We'll have a slightly different angle on this one. We're looking down at it from above, kind of. All right, but what's the point of this? Well, the point is we want to take these objects and we want to see where we find them in nature. So like a sphere, for example, you can use this to draw basketballs, soccer balls, tennis balls. Let's draw something kind of like a tennis ball kind of thing, or maybe a baseball kind of thing. You know, and then just a little bit of form to show how the light's hitting it. And maybe it's flying in the air, or maybe it's just sitting on the ground, or sitting in some grass. Or something. Okay, so you want to take a tennis ball, make it look more like a baseball. Maybe you put in some of the stitching. Make it look a little more like a baseball. And put some little bit of ridge on the edge. That's just a very sketchy baseball. But you get the point. You can just keep doing this, and you can make lots of different forms based on the sports that you like, or based on whatever your imagination's telling you. So these shapes down here are called geometric shapes. They look like things you might see in math class. These up here are called organic shapes. they're more irregular and kind of blobby, and so you won't see them. Well, yeah, you can find these in nature, obviously. Another word for organic is biomorphic. It looks like something that's alive. But let's take like a combination of a cube and make it a little more organic looking and use it to draw like a rock. So like another way to draw a cube is kind of more at a diagonal. So I'm kind of making a roughish version that I'm gonna kind of make it look sort of like a rock, or maybe a stone or a brick. So I'm using the shape of a cube. It kind of looks like a book, actually, the way I did it there, more than it does a rock. In fact, why not just make a book? Let's make ourselves a book. There's a book. There's the pages of the book. You can take the cube and you can build buildings. You can build a desk. Oh, I know what I forgot. There's another shape I want to look at. We did the ellipse, and then we give it legs and turn it into a cylinder. Well, this shape you can use to do a lot of things. Like say you want to draw the pencil. Well, the pencil is basically a long, thin cylinder. So maybe on your page make a line and then make another line kind of parallel to it. And then you kind of see how the bottom of this pencil, if you're looking at it from the side, is an ellipse, and the leads, you can see the lead right in there. Somewhere like that, okay? And then the other end, the tip of the pencil has got the lead and stuff. And then there's some material where the sharpening's happened. But it's basically a big cylinder turned on its side. So the same shading you would use for a cylinder, which is figure out where the light is. Put some shadow. You can do the same thing on the pencil. So this one's turned on its side, so we'll just put a tiny little bit of shadow lightly underneath the pencil. Then I'll try to sharpen the line a little bit. And then I'll use kind of similar, very lightly, just give it some form. Just to make it look a little bit 3D. All right. Let's do another organic shape. Well, and let's also do the mountains again. I wanna do, let's do an organic shape that's a little simpler. And let's give it some form. So this is gonna end up being like a pebble or a rock, or chewing gum, or a potato. Kind of looks like a potato. Okay, shape, form, shape, form, shape, form. Okay, then let's draw a horizon line in the distance, and then let's kind of combine this organic shape with this geometric shape of a pyramid, and let's make some mountains. So I'm going to start over here with this line, and I'm going to kind of like wiggle around a lot. And then I'm gonna like, so basically that triangle there, I just made an organic version of it, and I'll even shade this side of it. I'll pretend like that's the side that's facing away from the sun. And then over on here, on this side, we'll continue with kind of the organic line. Playing with, you know, maybe there's some crevices and rivets and stuff. But basically it's taking this and adding some organic aspects to it to make like mountains. So let's do another one back here. Get darker on one side and lighter on the other side. Darker on one side, lighter on the other side. You know, it's just a very simple way to represent mountains using that pyramid shape. All right, so try to draw all those. Maybe pick some other sports equipment that you like other than tennis balls and baseballs. Play around with that.